Hi, this is your economic change agent, Dr. Trevor Anthony Woolery for the Wealth Builder Network. Welcome back. The wealthy, on the other hand, earn their income primarily from passive and portfolio assets that generate unlimited passive and portfolio incomes. The wealthy realize that passive and portfolio income is infinitely better than income from a paycheck for four major reasons. It's theoretically unlimited because these types of income come from having ownership interest in unlimited income producing assets. It's independent of the owner's time because passive and portfolio incomes come in whether the owner is present or not. It's both realized and unrealized. Realized income, that is, income you actually receive in hand and can spend, is taxable, while unrealized income, income that exists on paper but that is not yet taken in hand to spend, is not taxed until it is realized. In other words, no tax is owed until you have the money in hand to spend. This fact has implications for the role of compound interest in growing your wealth as taxes are deferred. As long as you don't have to pay taxes on your money, as your money accumulates interest and dividends, it grows even faster because the government does not have to get a share of it. That is the power of compound interest. It has a number of tax advantages. We covered some prior. Passive and portfolio income isn't taxed before you receive it. But guess what? Your paycheck is taxed up front. It should be clear that your chance of producing and experiencing the power of unlimited income comes from the ownership of assets. Not any assets, but good assets. Ownership of good assets put money in your bank account. There are things like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, commodities, investment real estate, futures, options, ownership of businesses that brings you income without you being there, and so on. All these assets have the ability to put money in your pocket. These are commonly called investments. Ownership of bad assets take money out of your bank account. There are things like your car, your house, your clothes, your TV, your stereo, your mobile phone, your furniture, your MP3 players, your children's Xbox, your boat, and so on. You get the idea. Bad assets take money out of your pocket in three main ways. They cost you money to buy, they usually cost you money to maintain, and they have an opportunity cost, which represents the income benefits that could have been earned or received if you had purchased good assets instead. The three income sources come from good assets, and it's useful to categorize good assets by the same categories. The first category, individual active assets. And this is where you see examples such as people being employed or self-employed. The second category, passive assets. And examples here are real estate, royalties from patents, license agreements, businesses. And the final category, portfolio assets, where examples are paper investments, such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and so on. The types of assets you own, as well as the amount you own, largely determines which wealth class you're in. The problem is that people often don't distinguish between good and bad assets. The following table summarizes the connection between ownership of asset type and wealth class. As you can see, the poor have little to no bad assets and no good assets. That is, no investments. They just work to survive. The middle class have loads of bad assets and little to no good assets. They have access to debt, and they use debt instruments to get more and more bad assets and consumer items. The wealthy, they have minimal bad assets and loads of good assets compared to their wealth. They leverage debt and use their income to acquire income-producing assets. What does your asset profile look like? Where do you stand on the social hierarchy? What changes will you now make to transform your wealth position and economic experience? You have been the beneficiary of a life-transforming message from your economic change agent, Dr. Trevor Anthony Woolery. I look forward to working with you to live life on the other side of success and wealth.